Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome from a rather sunny London. Delighted today to be accompanied by Jill Newman, a very well-respected industry journalist who is also contributing editor to Town and Country and former executive editor of the Robb Report, who will be presenting the Holiday 2020 Diamond Jewellery Trends with the support of the Natural Diamond Council. So delighted to have you here today, Jill. How are you?
Very good, David. It's great to be here and to talk about something happy and fun and joyful today.
Absolutely. And you're in New York City, right, today?
I am. It's a gloomy day in New York, so I'm glad to hear you have sunshine.
Yeah, well, I'm glad it's sunny today as well. It's a nice change for England. So let's talk a little bit about the Holiday 2020 report about diamond jewellery trends. Firstly, just what is the time period we're talking about? Just give me a sort of a rough overview.
Sure. So we unveiled this report in early October. So of course it covers the holiday, the gift giving ideas, right through the end of the year. But it's not as though these trends suddenly fade away. I think that the four things that we've really focused in on, will continue and even gain momentum in many cases going into next year, and will certainly be important for gift giving, as we move into Valentine's Day and other periods.
Right. So this is a report of the Natural Diamond Council. Could you tell us a little bit about how the report is compiled? I understand there's a group of distinguished people called the Style Collective. Could you tell me a little bit about who they are and how you gather the data that is shown in the trend report?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think first and foremost, the Natural Diamond Council, the idea of creating the trend report for them was to really come around, to rally around what's going on in diamond jewelry in general, to show it, the trend report shows it in a dynamic light, puts it in a stylish context, and also helps bring to light new designers, emerging designers. We really cover the breadth of diamond jewelry from, at a range of price points, but certainly bring attention to a range of designers and brands. And then secondly, I think that we know in the fashion industry, there are key trends that come out and everybody rallies around them, on an editorial level during market weeks. And I think the jewelry, we all believe the jewelry industry would really benefit. While it's not a trendy business, there are certainly themes that happen that relate to what's going on in style. Look, we all wear our jewelry with our clothing, or relate to what's going on culturally, so that when we have some clear and defined trends and retailers have these in stores, and magazines and editorial and websites are covering them, it really resonates with consumers. If they're seeing, color, diamonds and color, and they see it in stores and they see it in the media, it begins to feel right and very on target. So I think that the trend report serves a lot of, is a useful tool. And then the Style Collective.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about the Style Collective, who they are, and also how you work together to research the upcoming trends.
Sure. So the Style Collective is a small group of us, both editors and prominent stylists, on the Hollywood scene, and retailers. So we have Will Kahn, who started Will's Notebook, and he's been in the editorial space for decades. Paul Schneider, who started the retailer Twist, which has a big online presence and has 2 stores. Christina Ehrlich is a really prominent Hollywood celebrity stylist. Maria Duanis Jacobs is also a stylist and editor. And Rachel Garahan, who many of you know in London, is the jewelry director for British Vogue. So all of us kind of come together. We all do our own research, based on what we're seeing. So I certainly see a lot of jewelers internationally, and the retailers and the stylists kind of view jewelry through a different lens. And we all come up with our ideas and what we think are going to be important. And then I assess everything and kind of look through it. And then as a group, we also really look at what's going on culturally. It's not just working in a vacuum of just jewelry, because certainly when we started working on this report, so a few months ago, the world is very different right now as a result of the pandemic. People are dressing differently, they're living differently, they're viewing their purchases differently. So it's not as though we could look at trends in a vacuum and say, okay, this is hot. So we very much had, rich discussions around what was happening, and having the view of editors, retailers, and stylists. We collectively, agreed upon these 4 trends that we thought were really going to be impactful for consumers, that would really resonate with them, not a fleeting trend, but something that had a little bit more meaning and reason for being right now.
Okay, fantastic. So let's move on next to your presentation of the Holiday 2020 report. I would like to say to everybody, we will welcome your questions. We're going to have a Q&A session after the presentation. So please do submit any questions on the Q&A facility there. So Jill, over to you. I may ask you the odd question during your presentation, just to forewarn you, but over to you now.
Sure, and you see the full screen on your end, right, David?
It's very clear,
Okay.
yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So I'm going to go right into our first trend. And I think this is really so high octane color and diamonds. And here we see a mix of enamel and ceramic and lacquer with diamonds. And I think this trend in particular really puts diamond jewelry in a different context. It's vibrant, it's lively, it's joyful. And what's great is it appeals to a very broad audience. You can see by the pieces we've shown here, these could feel a little youthful from Melissa Kay with these neon colors, but yet the trend is also being done at a very high end from brands like Solange, Ozagori. So it's being done in a range of prices, and it kind of takes the seriousness out of diamonds. It's making it playful. Here you see some.
Could I ask you, Jill, on that point, why vibrancy? Is this a reflection to some degree on the impact of the pandemic? I mean, these are not subtle colors, are they? These are really vibrant, strong colors. Why is that, would you say?
I think, yes, that there is joy. Color is emotion, and it's joy, but it's impact. So yes, it's the idea of the holidays need some, you want to feel joyful, you want the energy, but we all know, look, in New York, everybody dresses in all black. You can add kind of a splash of color with just a great ring. It doesn't require, you can embrace color with a great pair of earrings. So I think from a style perspective as well, it's an easy piece to integrate into your wardrobe, perhaps without making a big commitment of adding some color, layering it on with pieces you already have. So it relates particularly to this time, here and now, because not only is it happy, but if you're not ready to make a big investment, it's a great way to buy a piece of affordable diamond jewelry and mix it in with what you have. We're seeing it on every level as well, from rings. That's by Nina Runsdorf, the flower ring with diamond slices, and on the sides, it's hard to see, but it's edged with red enamel. We've got the moons in enamel with diamonds. Melissa Kay and EF Collection have both done a great job doing stacking rings, either combined with diamond bands or just studded with diamonds. And same with the earrings. You don't need a lot of diamonds to make this look work. It's fun, and kind of a sprinkling of diamonds also just adds a bit of glitter and glamour to these pieces. I think it's also a way to introduce diamond jewelry to younger people who might think of it as something classic, but I think it draws in and engages a younger audience. And then the images I have right here, I think are for a more sophisticated audience. The Lavender Heart by Kay Kane, Salim Muzanar uses enamel with diamonds in more important earrings. And you could see by the pendant necklaces, these are a little more sophisticated, but then you go to Stephanie Gottlieb's, neon pink S pendant, or the ring with the S, that again goes back to something more playful. And Bia Bonsiego, sorry if I said that wrong, mispronounced it. On the left, those are her rings, and I think she's done an amazing job with this look. She's based out of Milan, and her look is always about flowers and vines, and she's kind of made the vines with neon enamel, and she's doing it in great rings with some important diamonds and colored diamonds, and then with really small diamonds. So she kind of runs the gamut there. And Etho Maria created the earrings on the right, and they're also using diamonds, in a more important way, that it works for kind of a sophisticated woman as well that could wear these diamond hoops but have a splash of red. So it kind of can change your look really easily.
So this could be for everyday wear?
Oh, absolutely. I think this is something that's so versatile for day or evening. Add it to what you've already got in your wardrobe, or for evening to dress it up. I think it's just one of those versatile looks that works with everything at every age. So we move on. The next trend that I think everybody's really been hearing about, precious and personal. So of course, there's so many reasons why this work. I think, the last 8 months have been challenging for everyone during the pandemic. And the idea of connecting with people, your loved ones, your friends, through jewelry is just an age-old tradition. So to find pieces that particularly initials or words, is a way to really connect with someone in a different way. And, obviously initial jewelry has been around for ages and ages. And it's just never felt more right, more prevalent, more on trend right now. People, all the studies that have been done on holiday shopping, not just in jewelry, have said that people are going to be making fewer purchases this holiday, but are looking to make purchases that have more meaning. It's not about throwaway things. People want to buy things that are lasting and that are symbolic. And I think the idea of giving somebody a diamond letter with their name, or a word of inspiration, be it love, peace, dream. Those are very powerful gifts and powerful messages. And even for self-gifting, when people want to feel good, this is also popular.
And do you think, Jill, this comes very much from the pandemic, or this accentuates, if you like, the need to give a meaningful gift?
I think it's both. I think the pandemic has certainly made this trend more important. And I think, this is an ongoing trend, but at the same time, I think a lot of jewelry brands and designers also saw this coming, and we are seeing great designs from everyone at every price. So if it's a trend you like, you could get it at something really affordable, or something more important, like the pendants right here are from Verdura. And those are certainly, you could see they're bigger diamonds, they're more important pieces. But we're seeing this look from so many designers, and it's really exciting because it just makes that the look, the theme more important, more impactful.
And if I could also just follow up with you, all of these trends that you're outlining today, would you call these universal trends, or are they pertaining to a certain part of the world?
What's interesting this time, these are totally universal trends, because, and universal in the sense they appeal to everybody internationally, but there's no age barrier, where I think some of the things can feel very sophisticated, or I think right now, these particular trends really have a broad reach. Yep. And show diamond in a context of how versatile diamond jewelry is as well. And here you can see that, here on the left, these EXO earrings, that certainly has a more youthful feeling. And the love ring, Tiffany's did the love ring in rose gold, in yellow, in white, in bigger lettering. And it's just something that I feel like somebody young could wear and have fun with, but, people of all ages. A designer who's really getting a lot of play right now in the States is Mateo. And this ring is from Mateo, and he's put people's initials on rock crystal and framed it in diamond rings or diamond pendants. And again, this is a little more sophisticated than the, playful the playful charms, let's say. Here's that Verdura charm necklace. And you know, it's interesting. That Verdura charm necklace was first designed in the 50s. Fulco di Verdura created a stylized alphabet, and he mimicked it from a Renaissance manuscript. And a lot of these were never produced. And now today, Verdura has reproduced the alphabet that Fulco designed in the 50s. And it just looks so chic and so kind of charming and playful wrapped in a bow. And here's the look from Ava Farron. It's a little sleeker, you know, it's not as, we spelled out words with it. And here's the love ring from Sydney Evan, a designer in Los Angeles, who's been doing love and all these words like peace and laugh and dance for decades. And right now she says there's never been a bigger demand than it is right now for this. It makes people feel good. And even David Yurman, this is a new look from David Yurman. He's showing that, you know, the diamond letters in a range of pendants and charms. And here it is with his signature cable around it. And let's see who did these. So, and these, you know, with the ID bracelets, it's a trend that has, you know, a broad appeal before we go into the next one. So. Oh, I see the one on the right is from Zoe Chico, who's also doing great things with the M lettering. And now we're on to the next trend, which was very much motivated by the pandemic, the statement earring. So many of us are working from home, and it looks like we are going to be certainly in New York for at least through this year. And I think the one piece of jewelry everybody sees on their Zoom calls is a great earring. And I think the difference now with the glamour earring is, I think most people used to really think of it as a red carpet look, but we're seeing people wearing a great stylish earring during the day on Zoom calls, you know, with a t-shirt, with a white blouse, that it's no longer just for evenings, that it's a look that adds a bit of fun, a bit of glamour, and a bit of youthfulness to any look.
Would you say, Jill, that this period of the pandemic is almost triggering a greater appetite for glamour and glamorous statements, at least in some contexts?
You know, I think that's true because people, you know, we read in the New York Times and the FT, people, you know, they're getting a little tired of wearing leisure wear and not dressing up after, you know, being used to going into an office or going to business meetings and business dinners. So I do think, you know, a little bit of jewelry, a little bit of diamond sparkle, certainly it feels good. You know, people put on a pair of diamond earrings, you feel good. You look in the mirror, you know, diamonds light up the face. There's no denying it. It just, these are easy feel good moments, whether it's a great pair of diamond earrings you have in the drawer that you typically save for going out at night. You know, people are putting them on during the day. Why not, right? Why not?
And can you say anything about the styles, the designs of the statement natural diamond earrings? Are we talking about, say, any kind of Art Deco influences, for example?
You know, the Art Deco influence always has a place in jewelry. It just works. It's just the prettiest influence that we see in jewelry because it's streamlined, the geometric shapes, it's elegant. So I think that that's always prevalent in earrings. But I think, look right here, these are from Jacob & Co. These are literally chandeliers. And I think, again, this is a trend like all the other ones that have a broad appeal to people at all ages. So it might be someone a little younger wants to carry off a really big statement earring and it looks, you know, playful and chic, but you could also tone it down a bit. It, you know, runs the gamut. And I think here on the left, we've got, let's see, who is that one is by Alrosa, with the beautiful diamonds. And even though it's a large scale, there's a lot of open work in it. So it really works for anyone. And same with these Stephen Webster earrings. They're large scale, they're probably a good 3 to 4 inches, yet there's a lot of open work. So it doesn't overpower. And I think within this trend, that's important that you can have the scale, but it isn't ostentatious. It still feels really elegant in the lines and the designs. Then the one on the far right is by Cavant and Charwart. So, it makes it easy to wear anytime. The one on the left is a little more dressy, and it definitely has the deco feel from Martin Katz. And then Sarah Weinstock combined it with rose gold, so it feels a little bit softer. But you know what? There's no denying this Boucheron earring. I mean, come on, it's big, it's bold, but it's gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. And I think for the trend report, we really wanted to show that it's a look for day. We showed it with turtlenecks, with sweaters, that it has versatility. And then, of course, the earring cuff by Chopard on the right, that style still keeps going. And it tends to, I think it was once really thought of as a more youthful trend, but we are seeing it on women of all ages. It's a little sexy, a little daring, a little unexpected.
So how would you characterize this glamour? Would you call it a tasteful elegance? How would you describe it?
I think in some I think for the large part, it is a tasteful elegance, but there's big moments, there's wow moments. And I think which is what makes it fun also. It's kind of the unexpected, like I'm going to show up on my Zoom call, or I'm going to give this gift to, my friend, my loved one, that are big wow earrings. It's an unexpected moment for earrings.
So you could have a touch of escapism, maybe.
That's a good point. I think you're right. We all need a little escapism right now. And, if you want to give that gift and you can't go on a great vacation and escape, I think this is even better because this is going to last a long time. And like I said, nothing kind of lights up the face like diamonds do. I mean, you put them on, it's a feel-good moment immediately. And then we go into, which I think is also a little unexpected, the organic and earthy commitment rings, whether we're certainly seeing that people are going for non-traditional engagement and commitment rings. So I think it works for that. But it also works just as a beautiful gift, whether it doesn't have to be, it's not obviously just engagement or commitment rings. And the idea of showing something that feels organic is obviously so prevalent today, kind of seeing a diamond in its unadulterated state. And while a lot of them still have some facets, obviously, to make it pretty, it feels kind of mysterious. It feels a little unexpected. Maybe you don't know right away that it's a diamond. It feels like it has a story. It feels like it's come out of the earth. And I think it's just a cool look. And here we have great, Silva and C does a great job with it. She's always using these blackened or brownish diamonds, cognac gray. And, and of course it tends to be more affordable that you could get a big rock without paying the same price for a 2-3 carat faceted stone. There's a big price variance there, but it's also just a chic look, a way to wear a diamond that's a little more subtle, has a little more character.
And does this also include rough stones?
Yes, we're seeing it with rough stones. Some designers are showing it completely in the rough. Some have just kind of facets on top. Some are stones that are heavily included. So it kind of runs the gamut. That the look is, it has a broad reach again. Kathy Waterman did a beautiful job at Sethi Couture. While this is, you could see it's faceted, it doesn't feel, it doesn't have the same sparkle or vibrancy of a colorless diamond.
So in general terms, Jill, why are we seeing, do you think, this sort of celebration of imperfection in diamond jewellery?
I think there's a few reasons. First of all, some people just feel like they want to be a little more subtle these days, and this is certainly a subtle look as opposed to wearing a bigger faceted stone. I think it's a style look. It just looks different. It has a different type of vibe. In some cases, it's a real conversation piece. When you look at these kind of rough stones, it kind of begs you to take a closer look. And I think it also works because the idea of something coming out of the earth, look, it reminds people that diamonds are formed over billions of years in the earth. It's a gift from Mother Nature, and that we're so used to and conditioned to seeing it in its best form when it's, faceted into a beautiful stone. And, certainly this doesn't compete with it. I think it's a totally different look. So we're back on organic, and I think just talking about that, this is also being shown in a wide range of looks, from great bands with different rocks. You can see from Kimberly McDonald to Brooke Gregson that it's a way to layer it with pieces and stack it with what you have, or just make a real statement with these really organic looking rocks.
And are you seeing a trend, for example, within this category for increased taste for salt and pepper diamonds, for example?
Exactly. You know what? I couldn't think of the word, David. You got it. It's the idea of included, organic, salt and pepper, rough diamonds. It kind of, all those fall into this category of something that looks very natural and very organic. It all falls into that. And you know what you were saying earlier before we got on the call, that it's almost the antithesis of, we live in this high-tech world where everything is precision and everything is, so perfect. And the idea of showing something that's natural and organic, and especially in the context of a diamond. Some people in the jewelry industry, we're used to seeing this and we know about it, but there's still so many people out there that don't recognize diamonds like this. And I think it has a big appeal to people.
And also that there is beauty in imperfection, in inclusions, for example, and each stone is individual and unique, isn't it?
It's true. I mean, you can see it by the pieces up on the screen, and it also allows for a breadth of color, to have it. They're in these warm cognac apricot colors, and in the grays, in the warm yellows. So again, it's a way to bring diamonds in with color. And we hear so much about colored diamonds, and so often those are at super high prices. But here are colored diamonds that are far more affordable.
Yeah. So we're talking essentially about what? Yellows, browns, chocolate color.
Yeah, and grays, a lot of different gray colors.
Yeah.
And here we go. Here's more. Nina Runsdorf did it in her signature look with a pendant ring, and just a lot of stackable rings. It's also a really artisan look. There are a lot of jewelers these days that, I think particularly in the pandemic, a lot of the smaller jewelers that have had, that have meaningful Instagram accounts have kind of pulled back the curtain, and they're showing how they make pieces. Goldsmiths at the bench, all these people we're starting to learn more about. And I think that this has that handcrafted feel, which is another trend that's gaining momentum in jewelry, not just with organic diamonds, but also with beautifully cut and faceted diamonds, showing it kind of with a goldsmith's hand. It feels very personal, artisanal, and that's, another look. And I think that look really works with the organic diamonds. And here we see it. Do
you sense, Jill, that there is a trend, if you like, for extreme craftsmanship in this period, that people increasingly enjoy intricate handcrafting and craftsmanship of jewellery, particularly against the backdrop of this increasingly digitized world in which we live?
David, I absolutely think that's true. And I think, again, during this time when so many people have really turned to the internet and social media because they're sitting at their desks at home, I think there's a lot to uncover, and some of these jewelers that may have had very small businesses because they're making things by hand are getting more visibility. And I've certainly seen it in the British press, where you have some amazing artisan jewelers there, and in the US as well. I mean, look, they exist all over. But I think there is a greater appreciation for things that have a little bit of that handcrafted touch, where you could see it and you could see that it's been touched by the human hand. look, it's not for everybody. That's what's so great, that there are so many options in jewelry. Some people prefer the high polished look. And we certainly have both, but seeing designers like Prunus and Lauren Nicole and so many great jewelers in London showing diamonds in these handcrafted settings, really worked by a goldsmith. I think people value that, much more right now.
Do you think there may be a rediscovery of ancient artisanal techniques?
Yes, you know what? I just posted something about a designer, Lauren Nicole, this morning on my Instagram. I saw her pieces yesterday. She was actually an archaeologist who studied, she was working as a conservator at the Met, and she studied, ancient jewelry making techniques because she was conserving these pieces. And it led to her becoming a jeweler and reviving these techniques. And she's just one example. I know there are many people that are turning to this, kind of creating these smaller cottage jewelry businesses, because we certainly know those are labor intensive endeavors and it's not going to be for everyone, but those are certainly going to be special pieces.
So looking forward in terms of trends for natural diamond jewellery, do you think the outlook is bright for bespoke, fabulously handcrafted high diamond pieces to order?
It's interesting now that we have a little more freedom to go out and about in New York. I would say I'm seeing jewelers and brands just about every day again. And I'm really hearing some positive news, which is so great. Even just yesterday when I was out, that of course, sales have been impacted. I'm not living in a dream world. But at the same time, people say they're having deeper engagement with their clients. Like, they're reaching out, even at the big houses at Cartier, who I spoke to the team last week, that clients are reaching out and saying, oh, I have an anniversary coming up. They might not have the bandwidth or the wherewithal to come into a store, but jewelry still matters for big events, for important gifts. And big events, I meant life events, because the big events aren't really happening much now. But I think that jewelry still, even more so, has more importance, because we know these things are not, it's not like the Amazon boxes that are piling up on people's doors that, you're buying items. When you're buying a piece of jewelry, it's going to last. You're going to hold on to it. It has meaning, both intrinsic meaning, and it has meaning, when you give a gift of a diamond. So I think there are so many positive signs this holiday season for people giving gifts of jewelry, of diamond jewelry. And I think that particularly these trends really make gift giving easy, because, it offers a breadth of prices, a breadth of styles, a range of designers doing these styles. I think we also really have to give credit to the designers who, certainly many of them had great foresight to, go full steam ahead with neon enamel and neon ceramic. Those were some pretty brave moves, I think. And to see it come together now, I think it's really paying off for people.
It looks as though there's more opportunity, if you like, for everyday gift giving, for people to get a lift from what they're wearing on a daily basis, because some of the price points are now more accessible, aren't they? Say for the organic pieces, for example.
I think that's so true, David. And it's not even just about price. People want to buy jewelry they're going to wear all the time. And that's not going to change anymore. Yeah, we need some special occasion things, but like we saw with the big earrings, people even want to wear those during the day. No one wants to buy jewelry to put it away. It's they want to buy it for the way they live. So I think, yes, price point matters for some customers, but it's really having a look that you can integrate, even if it's a big look, like, big glamour earrings, you can still integrate it into your wardrobe every day. And I think that is not going to go away.
Okay. So just to generally speak, are you wrapping up now? Do you want to carry on a little bit longer?
Yeah, we've covered the 4 core trends. So I don't know if anyone has any questions. Where should we keep it? On the great earrings?
Yep. So I just wanted to ask you about men's diamond jewellery trends. In broad terms, what are you seeing there?
Yeah, that's an interesting topic. So, you know what we have seen, and we're working on the ultimate engagement ring guide. So I have just been looking at men's jewelry. And I think it's men's jewelry that are showing, okay, so David Yurman did a great example of kind of integrating an emerald cut, a small emerald cut diamond in a wide gold band. So I think there are some really interesting looks for men where the diamond is integrated into a band or, you know, as part of something on a really casual bracelet or an ID bracelet. And you know what really works well for men, the rough and organic stones, because it's not as sparkly and it can feel masculine. And if, you know, I think it gives men a great precious alternative, that they can wear something precious without it feeling a little too sparkly for their taste. So I think organic works well for them. I think there are some great bands that aren't necessarily just for wedding bands or commitment bands, but kind of cool, chic, masculine looking, you know, gold bands with diamonds, either rough or faceted or emerald cut. We're seeing some more interesting things for men.
That's really interesting, you saying that about organic cuts for men as being more low key. I really take that on board. But if I just ask you a slightly abstract question, do you think the day can ever come where men will actually really want to show off high diamonds in a luxury setting? I was a few months ago, before the lockdown, I was in the National Portrait Gallery in London, and I was looking at some of the Tudor paintings, and there were people like Sir Walter Raleigh with these magnificent pieces, pearl pieces often, natural pearls of course, fabulous piece of jewellery, and I'm just wondering what you think about the outlook for men to wear really extravagant high diamonds. Will the days be coming?
You know what? They're here. You know what it is, and I hate to generalize, but certainly we see it in the music industry with rappers. We see it with certain celebrities. This look is part of their culture. And we know like Jacob the Jeweler was big with that, and it's having a moment again. I feel like it had a moment. I don't know if it was about 10 years ago, and it has come back. And there's a pretty famous stylist, Law Roach, out of California, who does all the big celebrities. He's a huge diamond jewelry fan, and he wears it and he wears big stones, and you know what? It looks great on him. It works. So I think men and diamonds, big diamonds, there is certainly a place. It's kind of a style signifier for men. And I get it. It's not for every man for sure. But I think, you know, certain men love diamonds, and it works in the fields that they work in, whether they're celebrities or, you know, in the music industry, or they just, you know, love a great diamond. But I do think there's a place for it. And because you mentioned the portraits in the National Gallery, take note, the most famous portrait of Anne Boleyn, she is wearing a big B gold pendant. So it just goes to show you the initials, that whole trend. And that portrait was painted in the 1530s. So as far back as that, they certainly were wearing great initial pendants. So it's amazing the longevity of that trend, right?
Absolutely. So do you need to finish off on your presentation, or should we go into the questions?
Presentation is done. I guess I went quick and with my interruption.
Okay. Well,
Sorry about that.
Perfect. Let's move on to the questions then. I've got a question here from an anonymous attendee who is saying, please, Jill, could you talk a little bit about the appeal of old mine cut and old European diamonds?
You know, I think that we certainly see a lot of that. We're seeing it both in two ways. We're seeing certainly great vintage rings have endless appeal, but also people resetting those stones. And I think, again, that they're just beautiful cuts and beautiful diamonds. And they also work because they tend to be a little subtler, the rose cuts, the old mine. And there is certainly an audience that wants a big diamond, but wants perhaps a more subtle look than, you know, the round, brilliant stones. Those are two very different looks and two very different women that want to wear them. And I think it's a beautiful look that never goes away. And maybe in some instances, it's even more important now as people seem to want things that are a little bit more subtle. So you can have, a sizable diamond ring or a sizable diamond pendant or earrings that sparkle in a different way. It's just kind of, we know that those stones were cut by candlelight. They didn't have electricity then. So the cuts are a little imperfect, like the organic, and just very soft and pretty and flattering.
Good. There was a question from Irene in London asking in general terms about the price range for the statement earrings. I mean, presumably some will be very, very expensive, but is it possible to get statement earrings at a more affordable price? And if so, how do you do that?
Yeah, you know what? Look, of course, they tend to be on the more expensive side. I think of the 4 trends we highlighted, that certainly the glamour earring, moves up at the top range of prices. But yet again, you could get something bigger, that has a lot of open work. So you could get the scale of a diamond earring, but, maybe it's, a design that has the open work, so you're not having the weight of all the diamonds. And I think in our report, we have some of the brands that tend to be on the more affordable side. So they certainly exist out there. It takes a little bit of research. I bet at the Natural Diamond Council, they could make some suggestions. If you want to give us an email, we could, perhaps find a few brands that are doing that look.
And some of those earrings had, as you said yourself, more open work. So they looked larger, but,
Right.
There was less weight.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, that goes with the size of the stones as well. That if you've got that, if it's pave, it's going to be less than, the earrings with the bigger stones in them. So it certainly also runs the gamut. I'm not, it runs the gamut in price. I'm sure you could get something for, less than it looks. That it could look a lot more expensive than it is, let's say. How's that?
So question, by the way, keep the questions coming, everybody, on the Q&A button. A question from Mrs. Nidhi Gupta asking about combinations of, say, titanium and diamonds or aluminium and diamonds. I mean, what can you see about the trends you're seeing in unusual materials, if you like, with diamonds?
You know what? Thank you for bringing that up. That's one of my favorite topics right now, because I feel like now that more people are using titanium and aluminum and different materials, not only does it make design more interesting, it allows for so much more. So first, if we look at the titanium and the aluminum, of course, it's so lightweight. So you could have large scale earrings or rings or brooches that if it were done in gold or platinum, you simply wouldn't be able to wear it comfortably. And I think those unique materials give jewelers and brands a whole new ways to explore making diamond jewelry. And also with both titanium and aluminum, you can tint them in colors that you couldn't possibly get in a gemstone. So it allows you, I love when I see designers showing, diamonds with, a gray color or a blue tinted, metal. And even outside of those materials, which are especially great for diamond jewelry because they're so lightweight, there's also, like Sylvia Furmanovich was showing bamboo settings, woven bamboo settings that are showcasing stones. So I think these ideas, while they are so creative, and again, put jewelry and diamonds in a totally different context, something that's either organic or cutting edge. And that's the surprise with diamonds. It's almost, they have this palette, they have this undeniable value and sparkle, but at the same time, they're probably the most versatile stone because you can do so much with them. And I think not everybody recognizes that. It could be unexpected. And that's kind of the fun of this holiday season. There's a lot of unexpected things out there.
Do you think that high designers like Wallace Chan, who's used titanium with diamond jewelry, or Jar, of course, who's used aluminium, these were some of the pioneers? Or do you think that the trend for using this kind of unusual material with diamonds goes back even farther?
No, I think they were the pioneers. You're so right, David, because first what they made, I know that it took them so long to figure out how to use the titanium with, precious stones. It wasn't like they just picked up this metal and could do it. And then, of course, they made pieces that were so imaginative that you couldn't help when you see pieces by both of them, particularly Wallace Chan, those were like fantasy pieces that I think they got the attention of so many people. And people wanted to figure out, both designers and jewelry houses, how they could apply this material. But I know for most people, it took a long time and a lot of trial and error. And you know what? We could put in that category steel as well. Steel gives such an edgy look to diamonds. You know who was another pioneer in this? Hemmerle. And, you know, whenever I write about them, they, of course, are a generations old, you know, German jewelry house. But what really moved them into this kind of modern cutting edge jewelry was one of the Hemmerle's, Stefan Hemmerle's clients said, you know what, I want a diamond ring for my wife, but she's not into diamonds. So he made a ring, and I believe it was either in aluminum or steel. And that changed the trajectory of the company at least 30 years ago. And he started working in these kind of industrial metals. And it changed the whole look of a diamond ring. It made it feel edgier, modern, almost Bauhaus movement. It allowed for this really streamlined look to come into play. So I think they also had an influence on this. And it just keeps building momentum because it adds a layer of storytelling in diamond jewelry that's different. It allows for a different look. That look works really well with men as well, because has a masculine feel sometimes. So I think that it's a topic that we're just going to continue to see more people working with these alternative metals and materials.
Okay, great. So we have a question from Fiola Lee, who says, hello. Do you think that these trends are just a phase? Having just done a poll on Instagram today with my brand, it seems that the majority of people who don't really follow any trends on a daily basis still like it timeless and classic.
Okay, that's a good point, because I think even the word trend with jewelry has to be kind of taken with a grain of salt, let's say, because we know regardless of the price, they're investment pieces. And the idea of buying a diamond is that it's not, oh, it's hot this season and it's not next season. That doesn't make sense. It's the idea of buying something lasting, something that has longevity, something you'll pass along. And I think with these trends, they generally have a lasting value, with the exception of, I think, the neon and the bright colors. It feels like they're having a moment. But I think those are the kind of pieces that you could pull in and out of your jewelry box and wear when you feel like you want a blast of color, that you layer it on with pieces. But a great glamorous earring is never going out of style. A sentimental piece of jewelry is something you're going to hand down, always. It's going to have meaning. It's your initials or it's your child's initials. And then the same with an organic ring, something like that. Something from nature that feels like it's been plucked from the earth. These are things that, they're just simply not trendy. And I don't think that diamond jewelry should be when you're making an investment. The other big thing that's certainly happening right now is people taking their diamonds and remaking them. And this is something in the Art Deco movement. So many people took Edwardian jewelry and had it remade in streamlined designs. That was like a huge movement because they didn't want all the fanciful garlands and all the bows. So they took their diamonds and they had them made, in more streamlined designs. And we're seeing that today, that once you buy that diamond, a lot of people are taking solitaire rings and setting them in gypsy set because they want something that's, they want a different look. And I think that's also a great part of the diamond jewelry category, is that because it's the hardest gemstone that exists, that, people think of it, it can have another life. That even if you don't want it in a certain style. I mean, I'm wearing my mother's marquee diamond. You can't see it, but her marquee diamond engagement ring on a chain, the stone. So that's another fun part of what's happening in diamond jewelry today.
Okay, great. Fiola is also asking, what impact is the soaring gold price having, if any, on diamond jewelry designs? Is it possible to stay classy and timeless, she asks, while incorporating the impact of soaring gold prices? Does the fact that the gold price is so expensive now, does that encourage use of alternative metals with silver, for example? in classic
I think
designs?
that's a tricky question that maybe I'm not the best person to answer because I don't know that we've already felt the impact of the higher gold prices. As we know, everyone's already generally, bought their gold, produced their pieces right now, and the price of gold going up the way it has really been a phenomenon since the pandemic. So I think it's really hard to gauge where those prices are gonna, where things are gonna fall out. And I think that would probably be a better answer from one of the brands or manufacturers.
Yeah. There's a question from Peter Hofer, which I'll sort of paraphrase. He's asking if during this period of pandemic, if this would be the right time for people to want to show off a very, if you like, ostentatious piece of diamond jewellery, or would they more likely perhaps to stick with, if you like, classic and timeless designs? If they can't, show off in a party physically a fabulous piece of diamond jewellery, would they rather maybe hold off on that sort of purchase and stick with a more lasting, timeless classical design instead?
Yeah, you know what? That's a valid question, but I think a lot of people buy these pieces. From what I've heard in speaking to retailers, they're buying them for themselves or a gift for someone they love to enjoy. And it's not always about buying it to show off. Yes, that's a factor in it. And then some people have also made some big purchase. I was over at Sotheby's this week, talking to the sales team there. And they said one woman bought these very expensive diamond earrings. She's not going out, but she said, these are my purchase of hope, that I will wear these earrings at a party next year and life will go back to normal. So there is that element of, maybe not wanting to buy the most expensive, but, jewelry and diamonds are a sign of self-worth. People, we all know women are buying diamond jewelry for themselves and buying it for them to enjoy for themselves, to put on those earrings, and buying them for hope that we will live in a normal life soon and be out again at parties and with friends.
Absolutely. People often think that people like to show off pieces of fabulous diamond jewellery, but sometimes I know from people I've met that they just like to enjoy wearing it in the privacy of their own homes, just having dinner sometimes, just to admire the beauty and the fabulous craftsmanship involved in a certain piece. We've got a question again from Mrs. Nidhi Gupta, who is asking you, Jill, do you have any suggestions for up-and-coming designers looking to work with natural diamond jewellery as to how to go about their journey and what they should incorporate whilst designing and manufacturing their pieces?
So the question is, she as a designer wondering how to...
She's just asking for advice for designers, aimed at designers, as to how to go about the journey of incorporating, say, design and manufacturing in the current climate, if you like. I mean, for example, is weight of materials a big issue today, particularly if you talk about precious metals? Should they be looking for more of these open work designs in diamond jewellery? Young designers we're talking about entering the market.
Sure. Well, I think first and foremost, designers have to be true to their aesthetic. Whatever they feel, that should always come first. Whatever their look is, whatever, their inspiration is, that it should start with something genuine and authentic, because that will always result in something that is beautiful and heartfelt. And then I think, diamonds, I think that, when you're establishing a business, whether you're a designer or a brand, you decide in what price range you want to be. And I think that diamonds work and should be on every jewelry, even if it's a colored stone piece, because even a sprinkling of diamonds adds that little bit of magic, that little bit of glitter, that little bit of sparkle, that kind of, it's almost like fairy dust on anything. I honestly believe that's true. So, and if you're in a higher price range, maybe you're going to look to incorporate more, single stones in your designs. Obviously, there's a range of qualities, sizes, shapes, and cuts in diamonds, which make it that you could get a diamond at almost any price. But, every design, I think it has to start with what your aesthetic is, what price range you want to be in. because that will determine the kinds of materials you're going to use. And then how you want to incorporate diamonds, be it as a sprinkling on something or as the focal point of a design. And I think that, you know, the weight of a piece of jewelry really comes into play when you think about the design. So if your look is going to be big earrings, you do want to think about the weight of it. You know, look, it's got to be comfortable first and foremost. And same with the way a necklace is going to lay. You know, you do have to think about the materials and how it's going to work. It's got to be comfortable.
Okay, great. So our last question today, just coming up to the end of our hour, is from Nehal Shah, who I know very well. Hi, Nehal, in Mumbai, who's asking us, well, asking you, Jill, what trends do you think would be appealing for millennials in diamond jewelry in the future?
Well, I think that the millennials, I think all the things we talked about today, because again, the color works for everybody and it's a way to layer in some color. Big earrings, certainly in India, we know everybody loves and wears big earrings there. And I think, you know, I love the Indian style where so many of the earrings and the looks, Indian designers kind of make the metal evaporate and vanish. And you just see the beautiful diamonds and the rose cuts. And I think that that look can feel youthful. You know, I don't know that in India, the organic diamonds have been as big a trend, but I think that that's something interesting to introduce young people to, especially men. You know, they don't know about diamonds in this context, and it resonates with people that want unadulterated, organic looking things. So I really feel like all four of them engage someone, millennials and even younger than millennials, who perhaps thought of diamonds as something really classic, like classic studs, or thought of, you know, their grandmother's jewelry. This is hip, fun, you know, vibrant jewelry.
Well, thank you so much, Jill. Thank you very much indeed for your time today and that wonderful presentation. There were lots of takeaways for all of us, I think. I mean, clearly, there is a time for celebration, even in the darkest of times, and natural diamond jewelry is one way to really appreciate beautiful things with emotion. You talked about vibrancy of colors. You talked about statement earrings, personalization, the increasing importance of meaningful gifts in diamond jewelry, and also a celebration of imperfection, of diamonds with inclusions, like salt and pepper diamonds, for example. So there's a whole range here of diamond jewelry across all price points that people can enjoy as gifts as we enter the holiday season 2020. So thank you so much. Thank you very much to everybody who attended today. You will be able to watch the replay of this webinar on the Jewellery Outlook YouTube account from about 2 days from now. Thanks, Jill. Really enjoyed your time today, and thank you very much indeed for giving us this presentation.
It was a pleasure, David. I just want to thank you for having me, and for everybody that tuned in. And if I can ever ask any questions, feel free to reach out. This has been so fun, and I'm sorry I really talk with my hands, I realize, on this, even though I'm not in person.
Well, thanks so much. Stay safe, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.